Buffalo, an interesting one because they trade down a couple of times, including a controversial trade with the Chiefs that helped the Chiefs get exactly what they want. But in the process of trading down, they get Keon Coleman, the wide receiver out of Florida State, who for a wide receiver in this year's draft did not run particularly well at the combine, but has had some good tape. They get Cole Bishop, a Utah safety, a really good player there. Dwayne Carter out of Duke in the third round. And then sweet baby Ray Davis out of Kentucky. That's my nickname for him. He can choose to take it. Should have gotten that NIL deal. Felt like a pretty good, this is funny to me. If you look at ESPN.com, and you look at what they identified as the team needs coming into this year's draft for Buffalo. Wide receiver, corner, safety, edge, and center. All of them are now green dotted because they got all of those in this year's draft. So I think this was a pretty solid draft for Buffalo. B. I'll give it a B. I didn't give it a letter grade. My bad.
I gave the Bills a C. Wasn't as high in it because I'll tell you why. I just don't love Keon Coleman. I just think when you are a 4-6 type of receiver who's not great at getting any separation, it makes everything else have to be perfect. You could live that way. Des Bryant wasn't a great separator, but he was one of the best contested catch guys we've ever seen. Maybe Michael Irvin falls in that bucket too. You can make it work. And Keon Coleman was a very good college receiver, but I just don't love him out of all the receivers that went around there. And I didn't really like the Bills' moves back. I thought they should have been moving up, but they moved back. They moved back from 28 to 32. Everybody's banging on him. How can you help the Chiefs? I think Bill Belichick had a really good clip when he was talking about it of, don't worry about the other team. That's not how NFL teams operate. Do what's best for you. So I didn't hate the move back from 28 to 32. From 32 to 33 baffled me. You got nothing in return. You got a late round pick swap with the Panthers, 6-5, I believe it was. You gave up the 5th round option on Keon Coleman. What if he is a stud? What if he is Des Bryant? All of a sudden, you've given up cost control in the 5th round, and for what? To move up from the 6th round to the 5th? Like that's basically nothing.
That's a really
in the
good
NFL.
point, buddy. That is a really good. I hadn't even thought of that.
Right, and I just didn't like that. And maybe they did like Leggett. We'll never know because no team is honest after the draft. But they watched a lot of receivers go until they took Keon Coleman. Maybe he was their target all along. Maybe he's really going to work out well working with a great quarterback. The reason I didn't fail them or anything, I'm sitting there banging on them, is because I like a lot of the players they got after Keon Coleman. And even Keon Coleman could work out really well. But I thought they should have been multiple at receiver. This is the type of team that should have had 3 receivers come off the board. They had 9 more picks and didn't draft another receiver. I thought they should have packaged some of those 9 picks, move up to get another receiver. They should have been a little more aggressive here. But the players they did draft are good. I get it. You get cornerback help, you get linebacker help, you get some offensive line help. The Bills suddenly they're a pretty thin roster. We think about the Bills as a Super Bowl contender, and they are, but they also at the back end of the roster had a lot of needs. They did fill those needs, but just the way they went about the draft, I gave them a C. I would like to see a lot more receiver help here. It's a better grade if Keon Coleman is the stud they think he is, but for right now, just middle of the road for me with the Bills.
You have talked me into downgrading them to a B- with that 5th-year option. That was a good point by you. I've scratched out the grade. I've changed it on the report card. I will say, Damian Harris on our draft show pointed out, even in our prep process, having just come out of that locker room, that the Bills internally believe in their wide receivers. But even more importantly, I thought this was interesting. They look at the net number of touchdowns they think Josh Allen can account for, 40 to 45 a year between passing, running. They think he can account for 40 to 45. They don't believe any one wide receiver will make a difference in that number. He will still account for 40 to 45.
How could you ask your quarterback to do that much every year in, year out? You're putting so much on his shoulders. Give him some help. And I don't think they did enough to give him help.